Hello everybody, we are going to start talking about the neoclassical school of macroeconomics, and this is just going to be an introduction of the key ideas and one of the key representatives of this school. So let's start. So the key figure of this school is Robert Lucas. So as we remember, the key figure of the Keynesian school is of course John Maynard Keynes, of the monetarist school is Milton Friedman, and of this school, the neoclassical school, is going to be Robert Lucas. And he was born in 1937, and he did his PhD studies at the University of Chicago. And over there, he studied under Milton Friedman, and it seems like Milton Friedman have a huge influence on Robert Lucas, specifically the issue of expectations. As we remember, Milton Friedman introduced the aspect of expectations, especially when he was analyzing the trade-off between employment and inflation, and he created the concept of the augmented expectations Phillips curve. So the idea of expectations was a big influence on Robert Lucas, and Robert Lucas kept studying that concept and make this concept like a central aspect of his research. So he won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1995, and the reason or the motivation of this prize was for having developed and applied the hypothesis of rational expectations, and thereby having transformed macroeconomic analysis and deepened our understanding of economic policy. So rational expectations was his main contribution, and that had a lot of ramifications and still does in macroeconomics. And the basic kind of intuitive aspect of rational expectations is that when we have policies, either monetary policies, fiscal policies, for example, individuals are not going to passively adapt to those policies, but they are going to react according to certain expectations. So they are going to anticipate the consequence of those expectations, or they are going to take into account the motives of those policies, and then are going to act accordingly. So they are going to be active participants of economics, and they are going to form expectations and act according to those expectations. So the neoclassical school, as the name indicates, is a revival of classical economics that was mostly prevalent before the Keynesian revolution in macroeconomics. And it gained momentum after the stagflation period of the 1970s. We have had high inflation, high unemployment, and there was like a feeling that not just a kind of theoretical feeling, but also in terms of evidence that Keynesian's ideas were not as sound as people thought. So there was like a search for new ideas, and then the neoclassical school started there. So it started as kind of a revival of the neoclassical school, an extension of the idea of expectations that we found in the monetarist school, and also as a response to Keynesianism. So one of the key aspects of this, which we mentioned before, is voluntary unemployment. Like when we have crisis, people decide if they want to work or not. So they engage in some kind of a intertemporal labor substitution analysis, meaning that people are gonna weight the benefits and costs of working or not working, and as a consequence, we cannot really talk about involuntary unemployment. So in this context, maximization happens among individuals and firms. Like individuals are going to make decisions, firms are going to make decisions, and those decisions are going to head towards maximizing certain level of utility, right? Which can be which can include income or other elements, but individuals have these rational expectations. They know what is good for them, and they are going to act according to that. The other aspect of this school is wages and prices. They are flexible, they are not sticky. And that is going to be important because when wages and prices are flexible, then we are going to reach some kind of a continuous market clearing, right? Markets are going to clear. We are not going to see shortages or surpluses. We are going to have this clearance in the market. And if we compare this school with Keynes, one important aspect is that instead of having animal spirits, which are like a kind of these emotional aspects of human behavior, individuals are going to have some kind of rational expectations, meaning that they are going to get information about economic circumstances. They are going to read books, they are going to listen to the news, and they are going to make an informed decision about their behavior responding to economic events. It is as if individuals have like the right models of the economy in their minds. Of course, there are like different degrees of rational expectations, from having information to having like the right model of the economy in the mind. But this is like as if you walk out on the streets, and maybe you're gonna find somebody there, maybe like a construction worker, or maybe like a lawyer, or whoever you can meet, and then you ask him about the economy, and he knows about what's going on, and he might know, or she might know about inflation, but she knows also why inflation is caused, right? And what's going to be the consequence of that. And she might know, for example, that inflation might not have a real effect on the economy, for example. So they have like a very kind of clear models in their minds. That's kind of a little bit kind of an extreme assumption of rational expectations, but that's the idea. So one of the key diagrams that we have about this school is what we have here. So in the left panel, we have the traditional supply and demand model. And this is important because for the neoclassical school, we have this competitive equilibrium. And then this competitive equilibrium is going to clear the market, where supply is going to intersect the demand that's going to be producing the economy. This equilibrium changes constantly, but this model is going to maximize producer surplus and consumer surplus. So in the absence of externalities, this model is going to maximize welfare. And when the price is higher than that, artificially higher or artificially lower than that, then we are going to have surpluses and we're going to have shortages. But that is going to reduce welfare in the economy. But if the markets are let to work on their own, they are going to reach this kind of a maximization of welfare, given some assumptions. So these are some of the main ideas of the school. I hope these ideas are useful to understand the school, and thank you for the attention. Bye.